and thinks he certainly should have by now. CC, you think Clay can do this?
Man, I mentioned this last week when Kevin Durant was crying about, oh, we don't get any credit and everything. That guy deserves some credit. He's been one of the best defenders. I think he's invaluable as far as him, Draymond, and what they do defensively. It gives them that edge, that toughness, and it's predictable. 82 games, Clay's going to be out there for the most part, and you're going to be getting great defense from him. I believe he's really, really underrated as a defender.
I couldn't believe this when I read it, because I guess I was wrong, obviously. I assumed Clay had made at least an all-defensive second team. He's never made an all-defensive team. It's insane that he's never made an all-defensive team. What his responsibility is, the way he, in the past, has protected Steph on that end of the court, always drawing the other team's best player, like, no, he is. There are not 10 better defenders in the world than Klay Thompson. There's a first and second team. He never even made a second team. I hope he makes one this year. He deserves it.
Let's move on to Le'Veon Bell. It was reported that he'll show up to the team during the Steelers' bye week. However, head coach Mike Tomlin said, I have not talked to Le'Veon, and I really have no Le'Veon update. See, do you think that he will indeed show up week 7 during that bye week?
I mean, I have to take him on his word. I'm hoping. I mean, I don't think the PR hit would do him any good. I think that other teams are watching now. So in him saying, I don't want all these carries, I do believe what he does from here on out will affect his free agency. It will affect how much guaranteed money that he gets from another team. I do believe he will get a new contract with another team, but what he does from here on out the rest of the season, I believe will affect that.
But it also, Coach Tomlin's comments tell me that while Le'Veon talked to Jeremy Fowler for the story, I don't know that he communicated this directly to Tomlin. Like, hey, Coach, I'm going to be there week 7. Like, it would appear that Tomlin got the information the way we did through Jeremy Fowler's story. So he doesn't want to go out on a limb saying, yes, he's going to be here when he hasn't heard it from him directly.
And finally, Monday night could be a milestone for Drew Brees. Brees is just 201 yards away from breaking Peyton Manning's all-time passing yards record and on the verge of joining the 500 touchdown club. Nick, is Drew Brees historically underrated?
Yes. I mean, I think there is no player that, in a historical context, in the NFL right now is more underrated than Drew Brees.
Why?
By the end of this week or next week, he's going to have thrown for more yards than anybody ever. The game you did see,
yes,
he set the all-time completions record, and he is 44 touchdowns away, 45, from the all-time touchdown record. So there is a good chance he's going to hold the triple crown of quarterbacking when he retires. Completions, yards, touchdowns. And nobody talks about him as one of the 5 best quarterbacks ever. Nobody talks about him as one of the 2 or 3 best quarterbacks of his own era. He's never won a league MVP. Never won a league MVP. Like, so Drew, yes, he is historically underrated because of the era of quarterbacks he's played with.
And I believe there's been 1,000 quarterbacks with better attributes that played in the NFL than Drew Brees. Height, weight, strength, arm strength, things like that. But Drew has all the intangibles that you want. He's been a high achiever ever since high school. Played at a high level there in Texas, was a leader, was a captain, took that to Purdue, was outstanding there. Had the arm injury in San Diego. They decided to give up on him, resurrected his career in New Orleans, had led them to a championship. Like, he changed his whole franchise. So is he underrated? Yes. Like, if you're playing in a big game, Drew Brees should be mentioned as far as one of the clutch quarterbacks that we've ever seen. In the small body that he's been able to do it with is just, it's amazing. Because this is, now the rules just changed for him. All right, but they've been hitting Drew Brees for his whole career. And he's been able to survive being undersized with, man, this is a big man's game. Pro football is about big people, explosive, and Drew Brees does not have that, but he has the intellect and the intangibles that make him very, very successful.
Is there anything to where he plays that keeps him a bit underrated?
I think it should help him, because this is the sad sack, literally sacks on their head franchise.
Yes.
Like, what's the story of Peyton and Eli's dad? Poor Archie Manning. He had to play for the Saints. The team, if he doesn't win that championship, they move him. Like, I mean, I think that's really on the board post-Katrina, that they move him. And See, how's he been able to do it? You spent time with him recently.
Yeah, and he doesn't want publicity for it, but he talked to me. He was very, very frank about it. And he said, I believe that my body is in as good a shape as any other professional athlete, given any sport. I believe I'm in just as good a shape or better shape. He said, I just don't want the publicity. Other people, they want the publicity. I don't want people to know that I have a team of people directing me, what exercise I'm going to do, what foods I'm going to eat. And you could see before the game, I had Dusty with us during the game, and Dusty's a Purdue guy, and Drew Brees, he's always blessing Drew Brees with his little... Man, Drew has such a regiment that I couldn't... You know, Nick, I'll go up to anyone. Before the game, he was so locked into this regiment that he does before the game, I couldn't even break through. I was like, man, that's what he does. That's what he's got, a system that's made him so successful. I just have so much respect for him on and off the field.
All right, let's move on to Jason Garrett now. Quick wiki search will tell you he's been the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys since 2010, only making the playoffs twice in his tenure. But a quick peruse in Gary Meyer's new book on the Cowboys tells us Garrett will keep his job for a while. The book reveals that Jerry Jones likes Jason Garrett so much, he's, quote, averse to starting over with a new coach. CC, what do you make of Jerry Jones' faith in Jason Garrett?
I believe he has a tremendous amount of faith in him. I believe that Jerry likes Dallas people. He likes guys that kind of been around the Dallas organization, kind of understand it, because he's had the opportunity to have big-time demanding coaches. He had Bill Parcells. We saw how that ended. And there's a reason why those end that way. There's a reason why Jimmy Johnson walked away from one of the best jobs ever and one of the best football teams. I think Jimmy Johnson walked away from the best football team in the history of pro football. A coach who's healthy and walked away, that's what he walked away from. Because
as defending champions.
Yes.
Not like, oh, this devastating loss at the end of the year, I just can't do it again. As defending champs walked away.
And the reason why, because Jerry Jones and his influence. He wants to manage in a certain style. He believes that he's a football person because he played football in college. His whole fortune has been built around the Dallas Cowboys. He cashed it all in. I mean, he bet his whole life savings, everything on football. And he loves football, loves pro football. But he wants to manage a certain way. When you want to manage a certain way, you have to hire or have people around you that allow you to do that. And that's what he has with Jason. He has an input on everything that goes on in the Dallas Cowboys. And if you change the head coach, that's not going to be the case.
But at the expense of winning?
He thinks he knows how to win. Yeah. He's won championships as an owner. Now, he ain't won since most of our audience, they ain't seen him win. Right. But in the last 20 years, they've basically been a 500 team. Well, a lot of people do not realize that.
And listen, Jason Garrett there's only 2 coaches in NFL history with more wins than Garrett and fewer playoff appearances. So what does that mean? It means he has gotten a longer rope than almost any coach ever, as far as to be the coach since 2010 and to have made the playoffs twice, have only won 1 playoff game. That doesn't really happen almost anywhere. Marvin Lewis can't win a playoff game, but they've been there 7 times, I think, since he's been the head coach. And that was the Bengals, which was the AFC version of the Saints to our previous conversation, not the proud Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
This is where I think it hurts the Cowboys. Jason Garrett knows this. And anybody that's ever gotten too comfortable in a job knows, if you feel like, man, I've got a great job. I don't know that if I lose this job, I'm going to get a job at this level again, at least anytime soon. The easiest thing to do is not rock the boat. The easiest thing to do is bring back Scott Linehan every year. The easiest thing to do is to be the clapping and conservative, which is what we see from Jason Garrett on the sideline. It's easy to do that.
You got that pretty good.
Right, yeah, I mean, right there, and it'll be okay. And to just, let's make sure we don't bottom out. They only bottomed out 1 year that he was there. That was the year Romo got hurt, and they didn't have a backup plan. The other year Romo got hurt, Dak was there, and they go 13-3. Like, that, sometimes you need, and I hate to use this cliche term, a disruptor. Sometimes you need someone that will say, you know what? I'm all in on this. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Who's a disruptor?
Sean McVay was a disruptor, man. That dude's younger than me. Yeah. And I mean, they make him the head coach in L.A. A single 31-year-old good-looking dude. Go coach the L.A. Rams. Let's see what the hell happens. And it's worked out. Now, that doesn't always work out. When they brought in Tressman from the CFL to Chicago, that was considered a little cutting edge. That didn't work out for them. I'm not acting like new and young is always better, but it gives you a chance for change. And if Jason Garrett felt like this year, he was coaching for his job, I think you would see maybe more aggression. Maybe you don't bring back the whole coaching staff after a disappointing 2017 or most of the coaching staff. But when you feel like, man, the owner, my boss likes me and I'm smooth sailing, you want to make sure you keep it inside the hedges.
Well, I'm concerned about Dallas. They have a level of comfort working with each other, but they need something. And I'm not going to say changing the head coach, but how Jerry has done things, he's very, very comfortable with that. And Jerry's in love with football. But the only thing Jerry loves more than football is loves the Dallas Cowboys. And Jerry's about pushing his brand. Jason Garrett has been good for his brand. Now, you don't have to win championships to make money in the NFL. That's obvious. Jerry would like to win a championship going out. Like, he's been a champion, but he would like to go out as a champion. He's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and that was a tremendous get for him. He had to put a lot of energy and effort into getting that done. And now, with this new stadium, he would like to, and I don't know how long he's going to live, but he would like to win a championship for the Dallas Cowboys. And Jason Garrett gives him a comfort level that he likes to deal with.
All right, well, before we go, we wanted to, look, we have fun and we poke fun and we have a good time with each other. But you know what? When it's a birthday, gotta have love. It is Nick Wright's birthday.